guys, it's Quana back again with another review. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Okay, I just got finished watching the Barbie movie. Went to go see it on Wednesday with my best friend, and I'm here to tell you all about the movie, or at least my non-spoilery review and take of the movie. The plot, writing, the acting, we're going to talk about it all. But before we do that, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button below. Give this video a thumbs up. The Barbie movie is brought to us by the writing and directing talents of Greta Gerwig. It is also co-written by her partner Noah Baumbach, stumble upon the name. It stars Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Issa America Ferrera, Arianna Greenblatt. I'm just going to name all the names I can remember. Kate McKinnon, Will Ferrell, Rhea Pearlman, Helen, Mirren, Simu, Kingsley, Ben-Adir, who else is in it? Michael Cera is in it. It's a complete cornucopia who's who of Hollywood in this film. Lots of names I probably forgot, but the film was really well done and a complete enjoyment. But I will say this, I did not like the way that they were advertising it as a Barbie blowout party on Wednesday, and I was expecting the theater that we went to, because we paid a pretty penny for these early seats, to have confetti or games or all kinds of things, and it didn't really have any of those things, and I was a little bit disappointed at that. But that being said, still support your local theater, okay? And we're going to support writers and actors by talking about them with regards to this film. So let's talk about the plot of Barbie. Pretty simple through line. Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, who is playing like the stereotypical Barbie, the Barbie who's existed since the beginning of Barbie. And she begins to experience an existential crisis as the things that make her Barbie and the things that make her Barbie existence perfect and beautiful and pink start to decline and go away. She has to enter into the real world to fix things, and along for the ride is her boy toy, Ken, who's along for the ride and experiencing his own existential crisis as he just wants to be loved and accepted by Barbie. But when he gets to the real world, he realizes that perhaps he has a lot more power than he thought, because things are a lot different from Barbieland in the real world, because Barbieland is run by women and the real world is run by men, and he decides to see if he can capitalize on that. That is the premise of Barbie, and the film itself the script is really well written by Greta Gerwig, who manages to have some really funny, very on-the-nose Barbie-esque dialogue. While in Barbie world, it feels as though you're witnessing conversations that these Barbies and Kens would be having if they were really being played with by children. It is completely adorable, completely nostalgic, and so much fun. And when we begin to get into the real world and into Barbie's encounter with the thoughts and opinions that others have around her, the writing just gets stronger. There's a lot more monologuing taking place, and you really get to pull back the layers of what is going on with Barbie. And really, there are multiple layers of this story, that some that I think are much more visible than others, and some that I think you really have to walk away from and begin to unpack. First and foremost, okay, the story of Barbie, the movie of Barbie, is about an homage to Barbie. Have the nostalgia of playing with Barbie, have the history of Barbie kind of laid out in the film in a lot of ways, but also it's not afraid to poke fun at itself, and honestly to understand the stereotypes surrounding Barbie and how Barbie is both wonderful and ridiculous at the same time. The notion of Barbie and what she means to the world is infectious, it's important, but it's also a bit, silly, and it plays with that in wonderful ways. It's not afraid to break the fourth wall. It's not afraid to acknowledge its flaws, and I really love that about the script itself. As a girl who played with Barbie, I had a Barbie convertible, the one with the steering wheel that you could walk behind it and drive. I had a Barbie dream house, not the one that they've kind of stylized from the film, but the one that was like cardboard and it had the elevator, the plastic elevator. I had that. I had Ice Capades Barbie. I had a graduation Barbie that I think is still at my mom and dad's house right now, a closet to be my closet. And I'm just saying that you better not box that Barbie, might be worth okay. I had at least one Ken although Barbie in my world never married Ken, always got with like G.I. Joe or whatever action figure, or was just alone a lot, because, you know, I never really liked Ken, and no one ever was going to spend money to buy Ken clothes. So Ken always had the same outfit, even though Barbie had many outfits. And I think there's a lot to be said for that in regards to this film. But I was a Barbie girl. Interestingly enough, when I tell the narrative of my childhood, though, it's something that I often leave out. I don't really remember being that girly girl, and certainly if to hear my dad tell it, I was just the biggest tomboy there ever was. And that whole phase of my life of playing with Barbie dolls kind of gets cast to the wayside. And I think that's like the undercurrent of this movie, is just the idea that Barbie exists in these two different ideals and two different messages. One is Barbie as like a sexist, anti-feminist icon who's all about beauty and sexuality, but then also Barbie as a feminist icon who can be anything. Barbie as the career woman, Barbie as the first like doll that represented all types of nationalities and ethnicities, and then eventually has gone on to become a Barbie that amplified and represented different body types. There's now an amputee Barbie, wheelchair Barbie, plus size Barbie, full figure Barbie. There's Black Barbies with braids, and Black Barbies with afros, and Black Barbies with straight hair. There's all kinds of different Barbies. And that is another narrative that exists, and that we kind of act like that's new. But listen, Barbie has been coming out with diverse Barbies since at least 1982, because I definitely know that the year that I was born, there was a Native American Barbie that came out, there was an Asian Barbie that came out. So Barbie's been doing this for a while. But somewhere around the late 90s, the narrative became that Barbie was taboo and you weren't supposed to talk about playing with Barbie. And if you were a feminist, or you were someone who's going to go on to a career, you didn't talk about Barbie, you didn't play with Barbie, that wasn't something you did. And so this movie is trying to bridge those two discussions and say, hey, we don't have to see Barbie as that. Just because this was where she started doesn't mean that that's where she is, and we can acknowledge that Barbie was a way that a lot of us envisioned ourselves bigger than the versions that we maybe would have been able to see without her. That she was really important to Americana and our concept of who we are as individuals. And so I think the film does that really well. Some things I didn't love about the film. I did not love how much time we spent with Ken and with the Kens. It was a bit much. The Kens get a lot of screen time in a way that like really in many ways I think kind of steals away the show from Barbie in the second half. The Kens, spoiler alert, they get a song and dance number. Barbie doesn't really necessarily get that. There's like a dance number but no song. I could have done with about 5 minutes less of the Ken. There's also the inclusion of Will Ferrell, who's playing kind of like the CEO of Barbie, and he and the other execs at Barbie, who are all male, they get about 5 minutes too long of screen time as well, that I think just should have been not even taken away, because it's not as though the film was too long, but they should have been given to Barbie's storyline, and should have been given to the relationship with Barbie, with the character played by America Ferrera and Arianna Greenblatt, who plays her daughter. Could have been given to any of the other Barbies. Any time spent with the other Barbies, it just felt like that time taken away from Barbie was something that I missed, because the best times of this film are spent in Barbie. We live in the real world every day, but to spend that time in Barbieland is such an escape, and really what I wanted to indulge in the most for this film. That being said, the film was wonderful. There's a very lovely montage that Greta Gerwig includes that was made of film clips and home videos from people and staff who worked on the film, not just the big names, but also people who worked on the tech and who worked in costuming. And it was just all these montages of the wonderful women in their lives and of themselves. And it was so beautiful. And it literally had me in near tears. If I could have cried in this movie, I would have. But I was so happy just to be like seeing it that I was smiling and like with tears behind my eyes at the same time. So it was really wonderful. So yeah, it's at times a bit messy. I think it was like this close to being a perfect movie. But I don't always need my art to be perfect. what I will say more than anything is I am so glad that this movie was made. I cannot imagine a world in which this movie did not exist, and I think that the landscape of art, for especially art centering around maybe women's stories, is going to be the better for having had Barbie. It does deal with some hard themes and issues, but listen, we live in a world that's hard, and I am not opposed to a world in which we get to see what life could possibly be like with women running the show. I mean, hey, it's imagination. What's wrong with that? I had a great time. But listen, let me know down below in the comments if you've had an opportunity to watch Barbie. Maybe you're planning to see it this weekend for a Barbie Oppenheimer dual movie. I will not be seeing Oppenheimer. No offense to Christopher Nolan, who I adore. I just cannot make my mommy bladder sit through a 3-hour movie. I just refuse to do that to myself. So I'm not going to even set myself up for failure like that. So I have to watch it when it comes out later. But I've heard nothing but great things about it. But I will say this, if you're looking for a fun time and not a long time, Barbie might be the movie for you. So let me know down below in the comments if you have seen Barbie, if you plan to see Barbie. Most importantly, don't forget to support SAG-AFTRA. Don't forget to support the WGA. Listen, Hollywood needs to pay its writers. They need to pay their actors, especially when we're talking about actors. We're talking about the bit players. We're talking about the background artists. We're talking about the people who don't make much, but they spend and devote their lives to helping make these films, people who always show up in the background, who we see all the time, and they deserve to have their hard work rewarded just as much as the rest of us. So please support them. We're going to continue to support them on this channel, and do me a favor and support me by hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Toodles!